Hello friends. In last near about 8 videos, we discuss about the physiographical division of India and Brazil. This physiographical division is responsible for the drainage pattern as well. And today we are making our attention towards the drainage pattern of India. In last video we discussed about the drainage pattern of Brazil. The same way, India and Indian physiographical division is responsible for this drainage pattern. So let us see the drainage of India. When you're talking about the drainage of India, my friend, the Indian rivers is divided into two categories. The first one is the Himalayan river, and the second one that the river which is flowing on the peninsula region. This Himalayan river and Peninsula river is divided as per their origin places. The first one, the Himalayan river. Himalayan river, it means the river which originate in Himalaya and flowing. That river is known as Himalayan river. The basic characteristics of this Himalayan river that they originate at the glaciers, at the certain height in the Himalayan mountain regions, and they originate from the glaciers, and they are perennial in nature. Perennial in nature, it means Himalayan river flowing throughout the year. In summer, they get water because of the melting snow, and in monsoon, they get water because of the rainfall. And so far that in summer as well as in monsoon season, they are flowing with plenty of water. And so far that this river is known as perennial river. Now, when we're talking about the Himalayan rivers, there are three important rivers are there, actually four, but among these four rivers, basically we divide these Himalayan rivers into two categories: Indus river system and Ganga river system. Yamuna and Brahmaputra are also very important, another two rivers, but they are the tributaries of river Ganga. So let us discuss the two important river systems of Himalaya. The first one, Indus, and the second one is Ganga. Let us see Indus first. My friend, river Indus, which originate at the Manas Sarovar, which is located at Tibet. Manas Sarovar is the source region of river Indus, and it is in the Tibet. The total length of river Indus is approximately 2,880 kilometers. Among these 2,880 kilometers, in India, it is only 709 kilometers. It means 280, approximately 2,880, approximately 2,880 is the total length of river Indus, and among that length, only 709 kilometer flows in India. The total catchment area of the river Indus is approximately 11,65,000 square kilometer. The total catchment area of the river Indus is approximately 11,65,000 square kilometer. But when we're talking about Indian territory, it is near about 3,21,248 square kilometer. It means in Indian territory, the catchment area of the river Indus is near about 3,21,248 square kilometer. My friend, this river Indus is very important. Basically, its importance is increased in Pakistan. But in India, the tributary rivers of river Indus is very important. And these tributary rivers are Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Satluj. These are the very important rivers that flowing from Indian territory. Among them, Satluj, Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, all these rivers flowing from Jammu and Kashmir, and they giving water to the agricultural purposes of Jammu and Kashmir. Satluj is very important river in Punjab as well, because the Punjab plain is formed due to these rivers. So these are the Indus and its tributary rivers. The second important river system in India, and that is obviously the Ganga. My friend, as we know, Ganga originates from Gangotri Glacier. Gangotri, one of the very important part of Himalayan mountains, and Ganga originate at Gangotri. And from originate place to the river joined to the Bay of Bengal, the total length of river Ganga is approximately 2,600 kilometers. And within that 2,600 kilometer, too many tributaries join Ganga, and it added the water in river Ganga. And so far that this river has a great importance in India, because not only just economy, not only just Indian economy, but Indian culture, Indian history, Indian tradition, that all is nurtured by the river Ganga. And that is why we can see the total catchment area of the river Ganga is approximately 10 lakh 16,000 square kilometer. The total catchment area of river Ganga is approximately 10 lakh 16,000 square kilometer. And there are too many tributaries are there, but major two important rivers, they giving more water to Ganga, and they are Yamuna and Brahmaputra. These two are Himalayan rivers. Yamuna is one of them, originate at the Yamunotri glaciers and join river Ganga at Allahabad. This river Yamuna, the total length of the river Yamuna is 1,376 kilometers. 1,376 kilometers, that is the total length of river Yamuna. And the total, it occupies Yamuna, and Yamuna, the basin of the Yamuna occupy near about 40% of the total area of the river Ganga basin. It means it has a great importance, Yamuna. Then the another most important river or tributary river of river Ganga, and that is Brahmaputra. This Brahmaputra originate in the Himalaya and flowing in the northern part of the Himalaya, that is the Trans-Himalayan. It means it flowing towards the northern part, or the third range, in between the third and fourth range of the Himalaya, that is the northern part of the Himalaya, the river Brahmaputra, which originate at Chamyongdong. This is one of the place or the glacier where the river Brahmaputra originates. The origin place of the river Brahmaputra is Chamyongdong Glacier. And the total length of this river Brahmaputra is approximately 3,800 kilometers. From his origin place to where the river joined to its main river Ganga, its total length is approximately 3,800 kilometers. But in India, the total length of Brahmaputra is approximately 900 kilometers. These 900 kilometers flowing from the eastern part of India. Basically, when you're talking about Brahmaputra has his own different names in different places. For example, in China and Tibet, it is known as Yarlang Tsangpo. In India, it is popularly known as Brahmaputra, but this Brahmaputra is having his various names. For example, Lohit, Siang, Diang. These are the names of the river Brahmaputra. And when it entered in Bangladesh, it is known as Jamuna. So, the total catchment area of river Brahmaputra in India is near about 1 lakh square kilometer. And these two rivers, Ganga, Brahmaputra, after they meet each other, they create world's biggest delta, that is Sundarban. And approximately the area of the Sundarban is 1 lakh square kilometer. This is the characteristics of the river Ganga and Brahmaputra. Ganga, in spite of these two rivers, Ganga join many tributaries from southern part of India, that is Peninsula river. Some river which originate at Peninsula region, or that we can see the Plateau region, and flow towards Ganga and join river Ganga at various places. And these tributaries are the, for example, Chambal, Ken, Betwa, Shon, Damodar. These are some of the rivers they flowing from Peninsula region and join river Ganga. And these are also very important tributary rivers of Ganga. So these are the Himalayan rivers. Basically, we discuss about the two Himalayan rivers. They are Indus and river Ganga, and they have their own characteristics. They have their own importance as well. Now, after that, the second part of the Indian drainage system, that is the Peninsula River. Peninsula River, it means the river which originate at Indian Peninsula, originate at the Indian Peninsula, or that we can say Plateau region, and flowing towards the eastern side or the western side. So the Peninsula River, these Peninsula rivers, because of the Western Ghat, this Peninsula River again divided into two categories. That is east flowing river and west flowing river. Or east flowing river, that is popularly known as the river which join the Bay of Bengal, and west flowing river, that is known as the river which join the Arabian Sea. Because of the Western Ghat, the entire water is divided here, and these water flowing towards these two different directions, and that is why the Peninsula River is divided into two categories, that is west flowing river and east flowing river, or the river which join Arabian Sea and the river those who join Bay of Bengal. When talking about the Peninsula River, these Peninsula River, they are rain-fed rivers. Rain-fed rivers, it means within the monsoon they are flowing, and when there is a monsoon, these river flowing with a plenty of water, and most of the time they create the problem of flood in monsoon. But in summer there is a scarcity of water, and that is why we can see rain-fed rivers. This is the very important characteristics of Peninsula River. Then all these river, most probably these river are seasonal rivers. Within that 4-5 months, because of the monsoon, the water is there, and that is why the river is flowing in the monsoon season, and rest of the season they are dry. So that is why it is known as the seasonal rivers. Now let us see these two type of the Peninsula River. The first one is the west flowing river, or it is known as the river which meeting to the Arabian Sea. When we're talking about the west flowing river, the most important characteristics of the west flowing river, that they are short and swift. We know these river originate at the Western Ghat and flowing towards west and join the Arabian Sea. And because of that, this river is flowing in between the Western Ghat and the Arabian Sea, and their length is very short, but the flow is very fast, and that is why this is the very important characteristics of the west flowing river, that they are short and swift. Then most of river is not useful for transportation, because they are very fast and seasonal, and that is why this river is not useful for any transportation purposes. The another characteristics of the west flowing river, that they do not create delta. We do not find any delta towards the western coast, because again the river is seasonal, they are very short and swift, and that is why they do not flowing with a plenty of sedimentation, and that is why they are not taking part in the deposition. So for that we do not find any delta at the western coast. But the another characteristics of this region, that we may find Kyles, particularly in the Kerala, at the mouth, when the ocean water enter into the river basin and it create the lake, and that lake is known as Kyle in Kerala, and that is another one of the characteristics of this west flowing river. Basically, the west flowing river that we may find in Kerala, Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Gujarat. These states, within these states, to the western side of the Western Ghat, we may find these rivers. Then there are some another west flowing river as well. Basically, they are Tapi, Narmada. Tapi and Narmada flowing through the Rift Valley. We all know that they are flowing to the west side and join the Arabian Sea. So Tapi and Narmada. Instead of Tapi and Narmada, Luni is also one of the very important river, which is the west flowing river. Luni, we know that flowing from the western slope of the Aravalli and then join the Gulf of Kutch in Gujarat. So Tapi, Narmada, Luni, then Sabarmati, These are also the best flowing river in India, which flowing from the peninsular region of India. So this is the Peninsula River. The most important characteristics of this river that they are very short and sweet. They are seasonal rivers. Within the monsoon, they have plenty of water, and rest of the season they are very dry. And this river is not useful for transportation purpose as well. Then the second part of the Peninsula River, or the second type of the Peninsula River, and that is the east flowing river. East flowing river, it means the river which originate at the Western Ghat and flowing towards the eastern coast of India and join Bay of Bengal. My friend, these east flowing river, they are Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri. These are a very important river which originate at the peninsula region and flowing towards east. Among them, Godavari is a very important river. Godavari is the second largest river in India. It originates in Maharashtra at Trimbakeshwar in Nashik district and flowing towards east up to 1465 kilometers. It means the total length of river Godavari is 1465 kilometers. Godavari has the two important tributary, and they are Bhima and Tungabhadra. Bhima and Tungabhadra is these two are very important tributary river of river Godavari. The total catchment area of the Godavari is near about 3,12,800 square kilometer. The total catchment area of the Godavari is 3,12,800 square kilometer. It is near about 10% of the total catchment area of the Indian river. And that is why it is the second largest river of India. Then Krishna and Kaveri. These are also very important river that we know it is east flowing river that is flowing from the southern part of India. Among them Kaveri, we know it is useful for irrigation purposes from so many years back. And this river is very important. It has a great importance as well. So these are the east flowing river of India. Today we discuss about the Indian river system or Indian drainage system, Himalayan river and the Peninsula river. And both the river system, they have their own importance. From last 8 parts, this is the 9th part of this topic. From last 8 part or up to the 9th part, we discuss about the physiographical division and drainage of India and Brazil. Please go through the books, find out the location and extent of these places, and just try to find out the importance of the physiographical division of these two countries. And then we discussing the next part as well. So till then, goodbye. Thank you.